Welcome to Christians of Light.
If you act as if God is within you, your voice changes, your posture changes. You stop asking for permission to live with fire. And when you stop waiting, heaven stops waiting too. This is not a lesson. This is a summons. If you are hearing this now, it is because something in you is ready to rise. You have waited long enough. The silence you feel, the restlessness inside you, it is not confusion. It is a call, a divine order echoing from within, commanding you to stop living like you were forgotten. You were not made to shrink. You were not placed here to drift. You were sent, and the one who sent you does not apologize for power. The man who listens with reverence, who studies this again and again until it becomes his new law, he will not just change. He will become the living proof of purpose, sent with clarity, walking with power, and finishing what heaven began.
Napoleon Hill, a philosopher of old, was born in 1883. He died in 1970. He was one of the most influential figures in the self-help and personal development movement. Best known for his landmark book, Think and Grow Rich, Hill spent decades studying the habits and mindsets of highly successful individuals. His central message was simple yet profound. What you believe and consistently think about shapes your reality. Hill encouraged people to develop a definite chief aim, maintain unwavering faith, and take focused action. His teachings helped millions adopt a mindset of purpose, ambition, and self-discipline. Napoleon was also a man of faith. He identified as a Christian and referenced the Bible and Jesus in many of his teachings. In this lecture, he reminds us to always be aware that we are the children of God because God resides inside us.
Now listen, because the moment you believe this truth, you will no longer walk as a man. You will walk as one who was sent. You have walked long enough pretending to be less than what you were sent to become. You have bowed long enough to fear. You have hesitated long enough in the shadow of doubt. But now the voice of purpose calls to you. And if you will obey what is about to be spoken, not just hear it, but obey it, you will never again be the man you were before this hour. Because what I'm about to give you is not motivation. It is law, not advice, instruction. It is the truth of who you are beneath the story, beneath the excuses, beneath the hesitation that the world has taught you to wear. And here is that truth. You were not made small. You were not sent here to drift. You were not placed on this earth to survive. You were sent with power. You were sent with command. You were sent with God Himself written into your spirit. And yet most men live like intruders in their own life. They apologize for wanting more. They hide their fire. They speak with hesitation, act with delay, and wait to be approved before they move. Not because they lack ability, but because they have forgotten who sent them. And the world prefers it that way. Because the man who walks as if God is within him, that man cannot be controlled. That is why this truth is not handed out in schools. It is not printed in the headlines. It is not celebrated in public. Because when a man begins to think as if heaven lives inside him, he becomes ungovernable by weakness. He no longer listens to the noise. He no longer waits for support. He no longer serves fear. He begins to walk differently, speak differently, build differently. And the moment that man appears, systems that rely on confusion begin to collapse. You must understand this. Infinite intelligence is not far off. It is not hiding. It is not waiting in the clouds. It is within you. But it will not move until you do. And when you act in alignment with the purpose you were sent to fulfill, when you carry yourself as if heaven has given you a task, when your words, your decisions, your habits reflect reverence for that mission, everything begins to change. But this will only work if you listen, if you obey every word. If you silence the voice in your mind that wants to entertain, compare, skip forward, or analyze. Because the truth I am about to give you is hidden, not shouted. And if you drift while hearing it, you may miss the line that your future was built to receive. Do not let that happen. Listen with your full attention. Study this as if your life depends on it, because it does. And do not hear it once. The wise man will return to this message again and again until it becomes him. Until the thought, God is within me is not a phrase, but a fact. Until the posture of one sent becomes your natural stance, until your identity is no longer uncertain, but etched in divine certainty. You are not here to survive. You are here to build. You are not here to wait. You are here to command. You are not here to ask. You are here to decide. And the moment you begin to act as if God is within you, you will no longer walk like a man. You will walk like one who was sent. Now we begin. You were not created to hesitate. You were not designed to wait. You were not formed by the hand of purpose, only to spend your days questioning your right to build, to speak, to move. Doubt is not your nature. Delay is not your inheritance. Fear is not your truth. These were taught to you, but the voice that built the universe, the same force that hung the stars and shaped the fire of the sun, did not create you with uncertainty. It created you with power, and placed that power within your mind. Most men live as if they were never meant to live at all. They move through the day with hesitation in their breath. They walk lightly, as if trying not to disturb a world that has already forgotten them. They wait for permission to rise. They wait for approval to pursue what was placed inside of them before they were born. But the man who walks as if he was sent, that man does not wait. He does not wander. He does not beg. He does not ask the world to accept his fire. He walks with it because he knows it was not given by the world. It was given by God. You must now understand this truth. You were placed here by purpose, and what placed you here does not create failure. The infinite does not manufacture weakness. The source of power does not send emptiness. You were not born a mistake. You were not placed on this earth by randomness. You were sent. And if you were sent, then there is within you something greater than personality, greater than education, greater than environment, something eternal, something divine, something demanding expression through you. The reason so many men feel lost is because they have not obeyed that inner instruction. It is not because they lack opportunity. It is not because the world is against them. It is because they have ignored the voice that speaks without sound, the voice that does not shout but commands. And every time they feel it, every time they sense it calling, they dismiss it. They delay. They argue. They negotiate with the very source that gave them life, and so they shrink. They become spectators, intruders in their own life, passengers in their own story. Let me say this clearly. Failure is not your nature. Failure is the result of disobedience to purpose. And when a man walks in contradiction to his purpose, when he hears the call but chooses comfort, when he senses the fire but clings to fear, he must fail. Not because he is cursed, but because he is out of alignment with his assignment. There is a law that governs the rise of every man. You must walk as if heaven sent you, not with arrogance, but with divine authority. You must live not as a question, but as a command. You must speak not as someone wondering if he belongs, but as one who knows he was chosen to build. This is not fantasy. This is not ambition. This is your assignment. Do not tell me you are too flawed. Every man God uses was flawed. Do not tell me you are too late. The eternal does not wait on time. Do not tell me you need to feel more ready. Obedience has never required comfort. It only requires alignment. And once you align, the resources appear, the power flows, the opportunities arrive, not because the world has changed, but because you did. Let me give you the example of Abraham Lincoln. He was not the man the world expected. He was mocked, dismissed, defeated. He lost elections. He faced humiliation. He endured public scorn, but he obeyed the inner command. He did not walk as a politician. He walked as a man of principle. He did not speak to win favor. He spoke to fulfill his responsibility. His strength was not found in strategy, but in the moral fire that burned in his chest, placed there by something greater than popularity. Lincoln did not succeed because the world was ready. He succeeded because he walked as if destiny moved with him. And now I tell you this, Destiny will move with you if you walk in obedience. God within is not a symbol. It is not a metaphor. It is not a poetic phrase to ease your conscience. It is infinite intelligence seeking expression through your thoughts, your habits, your action. It is the power that placed you here, not to wander, but to build, not to beg, but to lead, not to drift, but to decide. And that power is waiting, not for the world to approve you, not for your past to change, not for fear to leave. It is waiting for you to rise, to align, to speak what must be spoken, to do what must be done. And when you obey that call, when you carry yourself as a man who was sent, heaven begins to move with you. Let me now give you your spiritual practice. Each morning speak aloud, I was not made to wander, I was sent to walk in power. Do not look around you for evidence. Look within. The presence of fire is your confirmation. Write your chief aim and place it where you see it daily. This is not a goal. This is your divine instruction. Every action today must reflect the man who was sent. No hesitation, no explanation, just movement. Before sleep, repeat the affirmation again with conviction. I was not made to wander. I was sent to walk in power. Now say it aloud, with clarity, with strength, with reverence. I was not made to wander. I was sent to walk in power. Again, I was not made to wander. I was sent to walk in power. Let these words become your command. Let them silence the voice of your former self. Let them cancel the doubt, the delay, the guilt, the shame, because you are not here to carry shame. You are not here to rehearse pain. You are here to walk in purpose, to think with authority, to act as if heaven is watching, because heaven is within you. You are the builder now, not someday. Now you are the voice now, not when you feel ready. Now you are the one sent to carry this message into every room, every hour, every decision. And the only question that remains is this: will you obey the call or argue with it? Because the power has already been placed. The law has already been written. The voice has already spoken. Now go, obey, building, and walk as one who is sent. The power you seek does not descend upon the idle. It does not flow to the man who waits for perfect conditions. Infinite intelligence, that invisible force which governs all creation, does not concern itself with your feelings or your fears. It concerns itself only with your movement. The spiritual law is this: belief must be proven through action. You may speak of faith, write of purpose, dream of greatness, but if you do not act, your belief is not real. Faith without movement is not humility. It is rebellion. It is a silent rejection of the purpose planted inside you. It is the sin of delay dressed in the disguise of prudence. You were not sent here to wait. You were sent to build. You were not sent here to question your power. You were sent to wield it. The man who walks as if heaven walks with him unlocks the gates of provision, not because of privilege, but because he acts before proof arrives. You must understand this law. Action confirms belief. Waiting denies it. If you say you believe but refuse to move, your subconscious records that contradiction. And because it does not argue, it simply obeys, you begin to shrink. You begin to hesitate more. You begin to act less. And soon, belief itself is no longer a seed, but a memory. But the man who moves, even while afraid, even while uncertain, begins to multiply his own strength. Because movement attracts power. Boldness activates response. Heaven honors the man who honors the purpose by walking in it. Do not confuse stillness with wisdom. There is a time for reflection, yes, but the reflection must always lead to decision. And decision, if genuine, must be followed by action. The law of growth begins the moment you obey. Look at Thomas Edison. He did not wait for the perfect design. He did not require applause. He did not demand certainty. He simply believed in what he saw in his mind, and because he believed, he acted. Over 10,000 failed attempts, but every time he moved, every time he worked, every time he reached again, he was confirming belief. And eventually, belief turned to result. Vision became invention. Imagination became history. And you are no different. You carry within you the power of creation. You have been visited by the same infinite intelligence. You are not waiting for a miracle. You are the miracle when you begin to move. But if you disobey this law, if you continue to speak without action, to plan without execution, to pray without pursuit, you will remain where you are, not because you are cursed, but because you did not act. The world yields to the man who does not wait. It watches the one who does not hesitate. It responds to the man who moves, not with panic, but with conviction. You must now become that man, the one who walks forward even when the path is unclear, the one who builds before he sees the reward, the one who trusts the voice within more than the noise outside. Let me give you the law again. Action confirms belief, waiting denies it. And I give you now the discipline that will transform your life. Each morning, write one action aligned with your chief aim and take it. When hesitation speaks, repeat aloud, I walk in obedience. I move before I feel ready. I walk as if heaven moves with me. Record your proof daily. You must show your mind that you are not a man of delay. Do not explain your action to the hesitant. Their permission is not your requirement. You may say, but I'm afraid. Good. That means the command was clear. Fear is not a stop sign. It is simply the echo of the old self dying. And the only cure for fear is not comfort. It is obedience. Now say this aloud with conviction. I walk in obedience. I move before I feel ready. I walk as if heaven moves with me. Again. I walk in obedience. I move before I feel ready. I walk as if heaven moves with me. This is not a phrase. It is your new rhythm. It is your law. It is your identity. From this moment on, no more hesitation. No more waiting. No more negotiating with the dream placed inside you by infinite mind. Now you move. Now you obey. Now you act. And when you do, watch how heaven follows your steps. You cannot carry divine power with a divided mind. You cannot walk in authority while entertaining every voice, every fear, every contradiction. The man who has been sent must protect his thought with the same intensity a king guards his crown, because thought is the seat of your authority. And if your thought is polluted, your actions will betray you. Most men do not fall because of failure. They fall because their thinking was unguarded. They permit every suggestion to enter. They allow every doubt to speak. They open the gates of their inner world to the noise of the outer world and wonder why their power fades. But the man who has been sent, the man who walks as if the voice of God speaks through him, does not treat his thought casually. He disciplines it, he commands it, he directs it. And in doing so, he becomes unshakable. Let me now give you this law. Controlled attention is the bridge between infinite intelligence and definite achievement. If your mind is open to every noise, every fear, every imagined threat, then infinite intelligence cannot speak clearly. God cannot move through clutter. The divine cannot direct a distracted mind. You must now ask yourself this question, daily, hourly, moment by moment. Does this thought honor the call that lives within me? If yes, then you think it, you speak it, you obey it. If no, it is rejected, removed, and replaced. No emotion, no argument, no explanation. You are not here to negotiate with limitation. You are here to build from obedience. This is the practice of the man who has been sent. Let me give you an example of this law in motion. John D. Rockefeller. During the great financial panics that shook the world while others collapsed under fear, Rockefeller remained still, calm, focused, controlled. He did not absorb the panic. He did not let headlines rewrite his aim. While the world screamed, he listened only to his purpose. And because his attention was disciplined, his results were inevitable. He did not have more luck. He had more focus. You must now become that man. A man whose thoughts are trained, not random, directed, not reactive, rehearsed, not impulsive, because your mind is the channel through which the voice of God will act. And if you keep it cluttered, you will delay every miracle meant to find you.
Napoleon Hill taught that self-discipline and focus are the foundations of all success. He believed that without the ability to control your thoughts, emotions, and actions, your dreams remain out of reach. Self-discipline to Hill meant doing what must be done, especially when it's uncomfortable, and resisting distractions, excuses, or negative emotions like fear and doubt. At the same time, he emphasized the importance of having a definite chief aim, one clear goal that becomes your driving force. Hill insisted that laser-sharp focus, combined with daily habits, mental repetition, and persistence, would turn desire into reality. In his view, riches and success come not from wishing, but from a disciplined mind and focused, consistent action toward a clear purpose.
Let me now give you the practice that builds spiritual clarity. Begin each day by writing one question on paper. Does this thought honor the call that lives within me? Review your dominant thoughts. Remove anything that contradicts your chief aim. Every time a fearful or doubtful thought appears, interrupt it with this statement. I think in alignment. I speak with purpose. I obey the voice that sent me. At night, write a short note on how your thoughts either honored or resisted your calling. This is your inner audit. Let me give you this truth. The world will never speak louder than the man who knows why he was sent. But if you allow the world's volume to overtake your inner voice, your life will follow the wrong instruction. From now on, no more mental wandering, no more casual thought, no more entertaining internal noise that contradicts the one who made you. You are a vessel of infinite intelligence. You are not a dumping ground for doubt. Say this aloud now. I think in alignment. I speak with purpose. I obey the voice that sent me. Again. I think in alignment. I speak with purpose. I obey the voice that sent me. This is your mental law. This is your spiritual firewall. This is the standard you rise to every morning and defend until night. Because when your thoughts serve your purpose, everything you touch will begin to prosper. When your mind becomes clean, your decisions become sharp. When your attention is fixed, your voice gains weight. When your mind is disciplined, heaven can trust you with more. You are not here to think as the world thinks. You are not here to repeat the noise of the distracted. You are here to channel power through purity of thought. And that begins now. The man who has been sent cannot speak like a man who doubts. He cannot use the language of hesitation. He cannot dilute his command with the vocabulary of fear. If heaven has placed a calling within you, and it has, then your words must be forged in alignment with that calling. Every time you speak, you instruct the subconscious. And the subconscious, being the seat of all action, obeys whatever is spoken with emotion and repetition, whether truth or lie. This is the spiritual law of autosuggestion, and it governs every result in your life. You may not be aware of it, but the law does not care whether you know it or not. It works either way. The subconscious does not argue, it does not evaluate, it does not question your statements. It only asks, have I heard this often enough, and was it spoken with belief? And if the answer is yes, it goes to work, shaping your decisions, your posture, your emotions, your momentum to match the command. So understand this clearly. If you speak doubt, you instruct weakness. If you speak command, you activate power. Most men fail not because they lack talent, but because their words do not match their aim. They speak with uncertainty. They declare nothing. They rehearse limitation in their language and then wonder why their actions betray them. They say, I hope, and the subconscious obeys hesitation. They say, I'll try, and the subconscious receives permission to retreat. They say, maybe, and so they never become certain. But the man who walks as if heaven sent him must speak differently. His words carry the tone of decision. His mouth reflects the mind of a man who has been commanded. He does not hope, he declares. He does not wish, he instructs. He does not explain, he affirms. Let me now give you the identity script. This is not poetic language. This is a spiritual decree, and it must be spoken aloud every morning before the world has a chance to contradict it. I am the man who was sent to build. I speak with power. I act with finality. This script, if repeated daily with faith and fire, will reprogram your subconscious to see yourself not as a man waiting for results, but as a man creating them. It will install a new image of authority, and that image will begin to attract thoughts, habits, and opportunities that match it. Not because of magic, but because the mind always moves in the direction of its dominant instruction. Let us now look at a man who lived this law, Charles M. Schwab. He began as a mill worker, but he rose to become the president of U.S. Steel. Why? Because his words carried conviction. When he spoke, men listened. Not because of status, but because of certainty. He did not explain himself with hesitation. He gave orders with belief. And because his words came from a deep alignment with purpose, others followed his direction without resistance. He did not rise through status. He rose through speech. He did not wait to become powerful. He spoke as one who already was, and the world adjusted accordingly. You must now do the same. Your words must match the man you are becoming. If they don't, your subconscious will remain confused, and a confused subconscious produces nothing. It stalls, it contradicts, it hesitates. But a subconscious that hears clear, repeated instruction daily, aloud, with emotion, becomes obedient. And obedience is what produces identity. Let me give you your new practice. Write your identity script in the present tense. Begin with, I am the man who... Speak it aloud every morning and every night. Not softly. Speak it as if your future is listening. Every time you hear yourself speak weakness, stop mid-sentence and correct it aloud. Say, that is not who I am. I speak belief. I speak law. I speak what I am becoming. Keep a daily record of your spoken word. Track how often your mouth obeyed your calling and how often it did not. Awareness is power. You may think this practice is simple. That is the mistake. Simplicity is the doorway to transformation. It is the small thing done with fire that changes everything. One line, spoken with full belief, becomes the law your life follows, but only if you repeat it long enough. Now speak this affirmation aloud. Do not whisper. This is your voice training your life. I speak law. I speak belief. I speak what I am becoming. Again, I speak law. I speak belief. I speak what I am becoming. Let these words override the language of your old self. Let them replace the habit of soft speech. Let them break the pattern of vague intention. Because from this moment forward, you are not speaking your doubts. You are speaking your design. Every word is a command. Every sentence is a signal. Every declaration is a brick in the construction of the identity heaven sent you to build. This is not empty talk. This is spiritual alignment. And when your words match your calling, the world begins to obey you. You do not rise with volume. You rise with precision. You do not rise with noise. You rise with law. You do not rise by waiting to believe. You rise by speaking belief until belief becomes your reflex. You were sent to speak with power. Now do so. You are being watched, not by the world, not by critics, not by men, but by the very force that placed you here. You may think no one sees the decisions you make in silence. You may imagine your laziness is hidden, your shortcuts excused, your delay unnoticed. But the eye that sent you does not sleep. God is watching, not to condemn, but to confirm. Every movement you make is a reflection of what you believe about who you are, and every moment of action is a revelation of what you think about the one who gave you that action to perform. The man who walks as if no one sees him, the man who cuts corners when the crowd is gone, the man who only performs when attention is present, that man will always remain small, not because the world rejects him, but because he has disrespected the one who sent him. You must now understand that discipline is not about effort. Discipline is about reverence. It is not simply about doing more. It is about doing what is right, with fire, with intensity, with honor, because you know that the God within you is present in every moment. You do not work hard because you want success. You work hard because you were sent by infinite intelligence, and anything less than your full obedience is betrayal. Let me give you the law of inner watchfulness. Every act is an offering. Every word is a prayer. Every moment builds identity. Whether you realize it or not, you are always worshiping. You are always declaring something sacred. The way you speak, the way you show up, the way you execute your smallest task, these are not neutral. They are either aligned with the mission you were sent to fulfill, or they are evidence that you have forgotten who you are. And when a man forgets who he is, he begins to live as if no one is watching. He begins to compromise in silence. He begins to lower his standard. He begins to excuse what once would have enraged him. And over time, his identity dissolves, not because the world attacked him, but because he chose casualness over reverence. But you are not casual, not anymore. You were not sent here to be seen. You were sent here to act as if seen. You were not sent here to seek applause. You were sent here to act as if heaven itself was the audience, because it is. And when you live like that, you become unstoppable. The man who acts with excellence when no one is looking becomes the man the world cannot ignore. He becomes trusted by heaven. He becomes resourced with provision. He becomes a magnet for order, for power, for favor, because he has shown himself worthy of more. Let me show you a man who lived this law, Henry Ford. When Ford declared he would build the V8 engine, every expert told him it could not be done. They brought him their evidence. They explained the impossibility. They advised him to abandon the task, but Ford did not flinch. He did not waver. He did not adjust his belief to suit their facts, because he did not treat his decision as a gamble. He treated it as a divine command. And when you treat your decision like it came from God, you do not retreat when others panic. Ford obeyed the voice within him, not the voices around him. And because of this, the impossible bowed. Reality bent. The experts were humbled. And a new invention was born, not because he was lucky or clever or favored, but because he moved with reverence toward the instruction he received. That is now your standard. Every decision you make, every task you complete, every word you speak must be done as if God is watching. Because he is, you do not need eyes on you to act with fire. The fire is in you already. The eye that matters most is already observing. You must now train yourself to walk in the fear of dishonoring your calling, not because of guilt, but because of alignment. If God trusted you enough to place power inside of you, then every moment you waste, every compromise you make, every lazy excuse you allow is a theft. It is a theft from the man you were born to become. It is a theft from the lives you were sent to impact. It is a theft from the source that placed his breath within you. You are not here to play with power. You are here to steward it. And the man who stewards well in silence is the man heaven will promote in the open. Let me now give you your practice. This is your daily altar. Each morning, speak aloud. My actions reflect heaven. I build with fire. I move with honor. Before each task, ask this question: if God were watching, would I do this the same way? And correct the answer with action. Write down one moment each day where you gave more than was required. Let that be your private offering. Before sleep, kneel, not to ask, but to declare, I have honored my instruction. I will rise again tomorrow in obedience. You are now a man of the altar, not of public worship, but private reverence, and your excellence in the unseen will build a reputation that cannot be shaken in the seen. Now say this aloud. This is your command. This is your reverent standard. My actions reflect heaven. I build with fire. I move with honor. Again. My actions reflect heaven. I build with fire. I move with honor. Let these words govern how you clean, how you write, how you speak, how you respond, how you breathe, because your assignment is not casual. Your movement is sacred. Your voice is sacred. Your labor is sacred. And if you act like that every day, you will rise like no man can explain. You will succeed like no man can copy. You will walk as if guided by something higher, because you are. From this day forward, live with the conviction that everything you do is watched by the one who sent you. And live with such fire that even heaven must take notice.
Knowing God often refers to having a personal experience or relationship with God. This could be through prayer, meditation, or other spiritual practices. It's about feeling, a connection that goes beyond intellectual understanding. Napoleon Hill understood this well. He said some people feel they know God by seeing the divine in the people they meet and the world around them. This could involve acts of kindness, appreciation of nature, or recognizing the interconnectedness of all things. And this is the way because he was sent here to be like God, to act on behalf of his holiness.
The world does not follow titles. It does not obey empty ambition. It does not kneel to the man who waits for validation. The world yields to the man who believes he was sent, not by man, not by chance, but by heaven itself. The man who walks in that belief carries a different atmosphere. He does not ask for space. Space is made for him. You have seen this. You have felt this. One man walks into a room and the room shrinks him. Another walks in and the room adjusts. Not because of charisma, not because of fame, but because of certainty, because of inner conviction, because the man carries himself like one who is on assignment. And when a man moves with that awareness, the world cannot help but notice. This is not superstition. This is law. The inner belief of a man determines how the outer world treats him. Your energy, your presence, your tone, your very walk, they do not emerge from circumstance. They emerge from identity. And when your identity is anchored in divine purpose, you become immovable. You must now train yourself to walk like a man with divine instruction. You are not wandering. You are building. You are not seeking. You are executing. You are not questioning. You are obeying. And when your walk reflects that order, everything around you begins to conform. Let me say this clearly. Faith creates atmosphere. Discipline creates credibility. Repetition creates inevitability. Faith creates atmosphere because the man who believes he was sent carries no apology. His energy is decisive. His speech is aligned. His presence does not shrink to comfort others. He does not need to speak loud to be felt. His silence commands respect. Discipline creates credibility because when a man is consistent, the world begins to trust his voice. His repetition trains others to take him seriously. He says what he means. He finishes what he begins. He does not start and stop with every mood. He is reliable, and reliability is the armor of the chosen. Repetition creates inevitability because no matter how long it takes, the man who repeats the law of his purpose cannot be stopped. He may be delayed, but he is never denied, because the world must eventually adjust to what is permanent, and the man of discipline becomes permanent. Let me give you a man who lived this truth, Andrew Carnegie. He was not born into riches. He was not educated in elite circles. He had no great inheritance, but he walked as if something larger had placed him on earth to achieve something larger than life. He did not wait to feel worthy. He acted as if he had been chosen. And that belief shaped every decision, every habit, every relationship. Carnegie expected greatness, not out of pride, but out of alignment. He believed heaven had planted the seed of empire in his spirit. And because he believed it, he moved in faith. He built in silence. He gave direction to others long before others believed in his vision. And the world, slowly, then suddenly, obeyed him. You must now adopt the same law. Do not walk with apology. Do not seek permission to believe. Do not wait for someone to tell you that you are allowed to think like a man sent by God. You are already authorized. Your desire, your vision, your inner unrest, these are not signs of arrogance. They are evidence of assignment. They are proof that you were not born to blend in, but to become. Let me now give you your new mental instruction. This is your daily rhythm of thought and behavior. Each morning, stand and speak aloud. I walk as one sent. I work as one assigned. I finish as one chosen. Move through every environment with the awareness that your presence is divine. When you sit at the table, sit like a man building something eternal. When you enter a room, speak only what aligns with your mission. Do not ask if you are welcome. Act like you belong, because the one who sent you has already cleared the path. When doubt rises, do not argue with it. Declare this aloud. I was sent. I am qualified. I do not retreat. Keep a journal of confirmations. Each day, write one moment when your belief influenced your environment. You are not here to fit in. You are here to establish law. You are here to be the example of what happens when a man believes that his life is the result of divine intention. And when you begin to live like this, the world begins to respond. Your posture shifts. Your eyes speak louder. Your silence commands. Your presence changes the temperature of every space. And it has nothing to do with personality. It is spiritual identity in motion. Now speak this aloud. This is your identity. This is your truth. I walk as one sent. I work as one assigned. I finish as one chosen. Again, I walk as one sent. I work as one assigned. I finish as one chosen. Let these words become your filter, your standard, your atmosphere. You no longer walk like a man hoping to be seen. You walk like a man carrying the orders of heaven. And that kind of man always makes the world yield. Transformation is not an accident. It is not a mystery. It is not the result of emotion, talent, or sudden insight. It is the byproduct of repeated obedience. You do not become powerful by hoping. You become powerful by building. And building requires a blueprint, a script written by you, repeated by you, proven by you. The man who rises is not the man who waits for belief. He is the man who writes it, who speaks it, who obeys it before he feels it, because repetition always comes before identity. And identity must be installed, not assumed. You must now take command of your daily rhythm. You must replace drift with devotion. You must stop letting time pass without proof. Every hour is holy. Every decision is documentation. And your new identity must be rehearsed like law. This is the system, the structure, the altar. It is not optional. It is not flexible. It is the daily death of the old self, the habits, thoughts, and voices that once ruled you, and the resurrection of the builder you were born to be. Let me give you the ritual. 1. Speak your chief aim aloud. You must remind your subconscious every morning what it serves. The mind, left to default, returns to smallness. But the mind, directed with clarity, aligns its energy to your command. I demand of myself the full and complete attainment of specific goal by date through focused thought, decisive action, and daily obedience. Speak this as law, not as hope, not as theory, as law. 2, speak your identity aloud. Your identity is not memory. It is instruction. Speak it aloud until your spirit bends to its sound. I am the man who was sent. I build with order. I speak with purpose. I walk as one chosen. I finish what I begin. Say it with authority. Do not say it as if you're convincing yourself. Say it as if it's already done. 3, take one action in alignment. You must prove who you are, not once, but daily. Each act must become evidence. Identity is reinforced not in what you say, but in what you confirm through behavior. Do not wait for the perfect task. Move forward in whatever you can do today to validate your script. Whether it is a message, a decision, A conversation or a small act prove the identity. Fourth, record what you proved. At the end of your day, take 5 minutes. Write what you proved. What did you say that aligned? What did you do that confirmed belief? What old pattern did you break? When you write, your mind recognizes. When you document, you deepen. And when you return to your records, you realize, I have become what I declared. This is your altar. This is where your transformation is built. This is where excuses are replaced with rituals. This is where fear is exiled and decision becomes your dwelling place. Abraham Lincoln, long before he wore the title of president, lived by invisible law. He spoke to himself in silence. He repeated principle daily. He did not wait for office to act with honor. He practiced the voice of the leader until the world could no longer ignore him. And when the world finally gave him the title, he had already become the man. So must you. You are not practicing for someday. You are not preparing for a future season. You are proving daily who you have already decided to be. Let me now give you the deeper truth. The subconscious does not accept what you say once. It only obeys what you say repeatedly with belief. And when words and actions align, you build certainty. And certainty is the foundation of power. You will not feel it at first. You may speak with trembling. You may act with questions still echoing in the mind. But none of that matters. The law works when you do. And repetition is the blade that sharpens identity. Now say this aloud. This is your affirmation. This is your daily command. Each day, I act in obedience. Each day, I prove who I am. Again, each day I act in obedience. Each day I prove who I am. Let it be said until your old self falls silent. Let it be lived until the new man no longer has to prove. He simply is. You are not your memory. You are your instruction. And the instruction you follow daily is the man you become. Write it, speak it, act it. Record it. That is your script. That is your altar. That is how you rise. Heaven does not wait. It watches. It does not stall. It stands ready. But it does not move for the man who delays. It moves only for the man who walks as if sent, with fire in his chest and obedience in his step. The man who moves without apology, without explanation, without retreat. Heaven has never responded to the idle. It has never opened gates for the one who lingers. It does not respond to fear. It responds to faith demonstrated by motion. All power, spiritual, mental, economic, belongs to the man who carries himself like he was placed here for a reason. And the moment you walk like that, speak like that, live like that, doors begin to open. But understand this, power does not arrive first. Obedience does. The move is made before the miracle. The decision is acted upon before the provision appears. The command is walked out before the confirmation arrives. Because obedience is the evidence of belief. And belief is what heaven watches for. You cannot live as if you are here by chance and expect a life of direction. You cannot speak like a beggar and expect the favor of a king. You cannot wait for signs and then declare that you believe. Heaven does not move by your words alone. It moves by your alignment. And the man who lives by law, daily, consistently, with discipline, becomes unshakable. He becomes immovable. He becomes undeniable. Not because the world wanted to bless him, but because heaven demanded it. You must now stop praying for movement while remaining still. You must stop asking for confirmation when you have already been called. You must stop living like a question and begin living as the answer.
Thank you for watching. Please like, follow and subscribe for more teachings like this right here on the Christians of Light channel. Check out our other videos of inspiration to feed your mind, body and soul.